Previously on Beast Wars, the Beast Wars were over. Now, on to more Beast Wars. There is still some mopping up to do after all, starting with the fact that Silverbolt screwed the pooch last time. Or rather, the pooch wanted to screw the spider. Silverbolt insists that she can be saved, just like he was after all, but Optimus Primal thinks that Black Arachne is just using him, and thanks to his indecision, she's on the loose, and dangerous. I mean, she's modeled after a Black Widow, for crying out loud. There's not even an allegory at this point. He plans to send Cheetor in, since he was such a master of technique in our last episode, in order to handle Black Arachne. And despite the plea of Silverbolt, the big guy is confined to quarters for his behavior. That's right. Time for a maximal timeout, mister. So much for your trip to the Cybertronian titty bar. Meanwhile, Ravage is listening to the empty posturing of Megatron, peeved that the Predacons are still kissing the asses of their maximal overlords. Ravage is unimpressed, having served under the real Megatron. Now that was a leader. He didn't pussyfoot around. He turned into a frickin' gun. That's how hardcore that mofo was. He didn't need a gun. He was the gun. There's just one problem for Ravage, though. A need for Energon in order to get back. The Maximals don't have any, and Megatron says that his stash is a secret. Well, not a secret for much longer. Turns out that they've got a man on the inside. Tarantulas is actually one of their agents, who is happy to pass along to Ravage the location of the Energon. Also, this three-piece suit made entirely out of skin. Back at the Maximal base, Cheetor stops by to wish Silverbolt the best before he heads out. Things were so much better before you thought you were being rescued. Silverbolt comes out to see if Cheetor's okay, but he says, yeah, he's alright, no worries. Okay, well, maybe one worry. 4 if you want to count the 3 tiny air razors that are flying around his head right now. Well, it might seem things can't get any worse, but they do. There was a witness. Rat Trap saw it all and rants in justifiable anger. And you know you've done bad when a rat takes the moral high ground with you. Rat Trap hits the alarm, but Silverbolt blows a hole in the side of their own ship and flies off, nearly getting blasted for his treachery, but managing to escape. Optimus Primal and Cheetor can't deal with him right now, though. They're going to have to go head to the cave where that Energon is kept in order to make ready for their whole rescue. Technically, it is correct. There is Energon there, it's just in its raw, unstable form. And also, should have mentioned, it's a trap. Inferno ambushes them. Man, absolutely nothing is working out for Cheetor, isn't it? Not to mention the fact that Calendar reminded him this morning that Dinobot was supposed to teach him how to play the banjo. Yes, it is the instrument of the true warrior. As for Silverbolt, he's caught up with Black Arachne, who is following Waspinator, who is on a mission for Megatron. It's a Cybertronian centipede out here. Yes, Silverbolt's here to convince her to join the Maximals, since she comes from their protoform after all. Parts that are the legacy of the Maximals and the Autobots, and certainly there can be argued to be some headlights present. But she doesn't want to hear it, threatening to shoot him if he doesn't leave. But Silverbolt refuses to believe that she could ever do that. A pity his armor isn't as thick as he is. But the distraction of his presence does lead to someone else having a worse day than him.
Waspinator has reached coordinates. But where?
Admittedly, Waspinator getting pulverized is long overdue. Oh no, the driver has been thrown out after annihilating Waspinator. Quick, act before someone gets hurt. Luckily, Silverbolt catches her.
You know I like 'em big and stupid.
We should hook her up with Sludge then. Back at the cave, Inferno runs into an old-school problem for this planet. The exposure to the raw Energon in his robot mode is starting to get to him. He didn't get that transmetal upgrade. But not to worry, that doesn't get in the way of being crazy, as he shows by preparing to fire point blank at the Energon deposit, which is a bit like using a lit stick of dynamite as a candle. Primal and Cheetor barely survived the explosion.
What a week I'm having!
Well, Ravage is not pleased, ready to terminate Megatron, although to be fair, that was always the plan. But Megatron trumps his plan with a bigger plan, the heist of the Golden Disc, with its promise of Energon. It was planned solely because the Energon would allow him to bring others in to help him. He explains about the Golden Disc being the record sent on the Voyager probe, which of course was flying off during the Great War. The probe had been launched about 8 or so years earlier, but Megatron had a guy who could turn into an interstellar space shuttle. Getting to the record really wasn't a problem. Beast Wars Megatron still has a fragment of the disc, and luckily the message happens to be in that particular fragment. Must be in a really, really condensed format. But it's from Megatron, the OG version, backing up his story enough for Ravage to give New Hotness Megatron the benefit of the doubt. Elsewhere, Black Arachne and Silverbolt are digging out the rubble blocking the cave that clearly Megatron himself had previously dug and collapsed, just in case you were wondering. The real action, though, is happening elsewhere, as Optimus and Cheetor learn that Ravage has switched sides.
Decepticons forever!
Damn, that was so cool. I almost want them to win, if it weren't for the whole exterminating us thing. Tomorrow, the conclusion of the agenda and the finale of Season 2.
All hail the Overlord! All hail the Overlord!
You're not saving my life again, even after I shot you?
It's my duty, ma'am, as a Maximal and as a heroic character.